They say the world runs on order. Rules written in blood, enforced by shadows, maintained by fear. The High Table believed this. For centuries, they sat above the chaos, untouchable, watching empires rise and fall beneath their gaze. They controlled the underworld like gods control fate, with absolute certainty that nothing could challenge their throne. They were wrong. Because they forgot something crucial about power: it only exists as long as people believe in it. And the moment one man stops believing, the moment he decides that their rules mean nothing, that's when the whole kingdom begins to crumble. His name was whispered in 1,000 languages, feared in every corner of the criminal world. John Wick, the Baba Yaga, the man who killed his way out of hell and then set it on fire behind him. They thought they'd broken him. Excommunicado. Hunted. Alone. They thought exile would be his grave. But exile became his armor. And from the darkness, he began to plan not just revenge, but revolution. Somewhere in the Moroccan desert, where the sun burns away secrets and the night holds only stars and silence, there was a monastery. Not the kind you'd find in guidebooks. This one had no name, no history tourists could trace. Just stone walls weathered by centuries, monks who spoke in gestures, and a guest who asked for nothing but sanctuary. John Wick had been there for 6 months. He didn't pray, didn't seek redemption. He just existed. Every morning, he rose before dawn, carried water from the well, trained in the courtyard with movements so precise they looked like meditation. The monks never asked why a man with so much death in his eyes sought peace in such a place. They understood what the world outside didn't. Some men come to the desert not to find God, but to remember who they were before the world told them what to become. But peace is a fragile thing when you're built for war. It came on a Tuesday, a visitor. Not a pilgrim. Not a monk. A courier. Young, nervous, with the kind of fear in his eyes that comes from knowing exactly who you're about to disturb. He approached John in the courtyard, where morning light cut through the arches like golden blades. "Mr. Wick." The voice cracked. "I was told to give this to you. Only to you." John didn't turn immediately. He finished the form he was practicing, a sequence of movements that would have looked beautiful if you didn't know each one was designed to kill. Then, slowly, he faced the courier. By whom? The Bowery King. That name. It hung in the air like smoke from a gun. John took the envelope, black wax seal, unmarked. Inside, a single photograph and a handwritten note. The photo showed a young woman. 18, maybe 19. Dark hair. Eyes that held intelligence and something else, defiance. On the back, 3 words in elegant script: your goddaughter. Helen's wish. The note was brief. They know about her. They're coming. The table wants to erase every connection you ever had. This one included. You have 48 hours. BK. John's hand didn't shake. His face didn't change. But something inside him, something he'd tried to bury beneath ritual and silence, woke up. Not the part that felt. The part that ended things. Tell him I'm coming. The courier nodded, relief flooding his features, and practically ran back to whatever transport brought him. John stood alone in the courtyard, staring at the photograph. Helen had never mentioned a goddaughter. But then, she'd had so many secrets, beautiful secrets she'd kept to protect him from exactly this. She should have run. Should have screamed. Instead, she straightened her spine, met his eyes with that same defiance from the photograph. What do we do? We. Not you save me. Not I'm helpless. She had Helen's steel in her. We disappear. And then... John's voice went cold. We make them regret ever knowing your name. The Continental. The Moroccan branch, ironically enough. Sophia still ran it, still owed John for saving her daughter. She welcomed them without questions, gave them a suite that was more fortress than hotel room. That night, while Mira slept, John made calls. Old markers. Ancient favors. The network he'd built over decades of blood and reputation. The Bowery King. Tokyo's Shimazu clan. Paris Underground. Berlin's weapon merchants. Every connection, every debt, every piece of his legend, he called them all in. The high table thinks they can touch what's mine, he told each one. They're wrong. And I'm going to show them what happens when you break the only rule that matters: you don't touch family. The Bowery King's response came through encrypted channels. Been waiting for this day. The world's been theirs too long. Let's remind them it was always ours. Sophia appeared at 3 a.m., 2 Belgian Malinois at her side, whiskey in hand. You're going to war with the entire high table. Yes. Alone? I'm never alone. I have everyone they've ever wronged. Every assassin they've used and discarded. Every marker they've ignored. The table forgot something: they built their empire on people like us. And people like us remember. She poured 2 glasses. They drank in silence, 2 warriors acknowledging the precipice. When? She asked. The elders gathering. Rome. 3 weeks. They'll all be there. Every table member, every adjudicator, every piece of their machinery. They're celebrating 4 centuries of rule. Sophia smiled. It was not a kind smile. They're celebrating their own funeral. Rome. The Palazzo Sant'Angelo. Ancient seat of power where the high table had gathered since the Renaissance. Stone walls that had witnessed the birth of their empire. Tonight, those walls would witness its death. John arrived not as a supplicant or an excommunicado, but as something the table had never seen: a revolutionary with an army. They'd expected resistance. They'd tripled security. Swiss guards. Elite contractors. Technology that could detect a mouse's heartbeat. But John hadn't come through the front door. He'd come through history itself: forgotten tunnels, catacombs that predated the palazzo, paths only someone who'd lived in Rome's underworld would know. The Bowery King's people took the communications first. Silence is a weapon when your enemy relies on coordination. Tokyo's Shimazu fighters disabled the outer security with the precision of surgeons. Sophia's team secured the exits. Every piece moved exactly as planned. When John walked into the grand hall, where the 12 table members sat in their ceremonial thrones, where the elder presided like a prophet, he wasn't alone. Behind him, 100 assassins. Not a kill team. A statement. They sat in silence, watching Paris move around them, the city of lights, unaware that in its shadows, a revolution had been fought and won. Somewhere in Rome, workers were demolishing the Palazzo Sant'Angelo. No plaque would mark what happened there. No history would record the night the table fell. But every assassin alive would know. Would pass it down in whispers, in legends, in the quiet moments before sleep. The story of the man who looked at gods and saw only men. Who faced an empire and gave them war instead of obedience. His name was John Wick. And he'd reminded the world of something it had forgotten. The only rule that matters is the one you're willing to die for. Everything else is just noise.